Like, this is going to be one of, if not the best offensive teams in the league, this Laker roster.
LeBron James is certainly a big sting to the Lakers, but their recovery with these four players was very good.
Semifinals? Yeah. When the Lakers rolled out LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Austin Reeves and got swept off the floor like they were absolutely nobody. Well, within one single month of that disaster, 4 of those 5 starting players were gone. LeBron told them he was finishing his career elsewhere. Smart left. Kennard left. Hachimura left. That left Rob Pelinka with $50 million in cap space. And a superstar in Luka Doncic who knew exactly what he needed. Add in a 24th pick from Baylor who was making everyone drafted ahead of him look absolutely silly in Summer League, and Pelinka decided this was the perfect moment to completely rebuild the Los Angeles Lakers. But did he actually pull it off? We are breaking down all of it, because if you thought this was just some ordinary franchise rebuild, wait until you hear what they plan for Luka next season. These Lakers are genuinely ready to change the entire league forever. Before looking at what Pelinka actually built, we have to understand the massive talent that walked out of the door first. This was not your average, boring offseason where a team just loses a few minor bench pieces. We are talking about 4 highly specialized roles vanishing all at once, and yet the front office acted like losing that heavy production was the actual plan. Naturally, LeBron James was the first to depart. The man gave them 8 seasons and a championship, and he was still casually averaging nearly 21 points at 41 years old while easily making all-star teams. Then, on June 30th at 9 in the morning, exactly 6 hours before free agency even legally opened, he informed management he was finishing his career somewhere else. LeBron James officially told the Los Angeles Lakers that he was moving on. He told them to go ahead with their offseason business, and just like that, it was over. But here is the crazy part. Losing LeBron was actually the easy step. What hurt far more was everything that left with him. Marcus Smart walked out and took their entire defensive backbone with him. This was the Warrior drawing matchups against Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander every single night and locking them down more than anyone ever admitted. Then Luke Kennard, who arrived at the trade deadline and instantly became their most lethal offensive spark plug off the bench, was suddenly out of the picture too. To top it off, Rui Hachimura signed with the Clippers. If you are keeping score, their best sniper, best perimeter lock, most efficient forward, and their ultimate franchise cornerstone all vanished in one single summer. If that sounds like a total teardown rather than a basic retool, well, that might be exactly what the front office wanted, because every single departure cleared the runway for one primary goal. See, Luka Doncic already knew exactly what kind of roster he needed around him long before free agency even opened, and he was definitely not shy about demanding it. He wanted an elite, high-level big man who absolutely eats in the pick and roll. On the defensive end, he needed lockdown perimeter defenders who could cover his shift so he could conserve his energy. He also wanted knockdown three-point shooters to maximize his passing lanes. Finally, he needed secondary ball handlers to take the pressure off his shoulders when opposing defenses inevitably double-team him. That was the checklist. LeBron leaving clear $50 million in cap space, giving Rob Pelinka the massive war chest to actually go out and get it. So, what did he do? He sat on his hands while the rest of the league went absolutely chaotic. Teams were signing guys left and right, throwing massive contracts everywhere, and the Lakers were just waiting. But watch this. In literally 35 minutes on a Wednesday morning, the whole master plan fell into place. Now, here is what most people are completely missing about the moves Pelinka made. These additions do not just support Luka, they build the perfect environment for their new rookie Cameron Carr to thrive as one of the most dangerous young weapons in the Western Conference. And it all kicks off with one specific roster move that completely blew everything else out of the water. For years, the Lakers had a gaping hole at center they simply could not patch up no matter what they tried. It was not even subtle. Luka knew it. The front office knew it, and every single fan watching at home knew it. So when free agency kicked off and 2 massive targets emerged, Walker Kessler and Jalen Duren, everyone in the league knew this was going to be the biggest decision of the entire summer. They ultimately landed Kessler via sign and trade with Utah for 2 future first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, pick swaps in 2028 and 2030, plus a massive 4-year, $130 million deal. That is a monumental gamble for a guy who played just 5 games last season before an injury shut him down. But look back at his last healthy year, and you quickly see why the Lakers dropped that bag. The man averaged 11 points on 66% shooting, 12 rebounds, and over 2 blocks per night while totally locking down the paint. He is quite literally the ideal center partner for Luka, playing elite interior defense to cover up any defensive lapses and then running the floor to catch the easiest lobs of his entire career on the other. Bogdan Bogdanovic in 2020, how did you react? This is a massive development and an absolute home run for the Lakers. Even though it cost them those 2 first-round draft picks, landing Walker Kessler gives them the exact interior force they desperately needed to anchor things behind Austin Reeves. And here is where Cameron Carr comes into play. Kessler dominating the paint and pulling defenders down low creates the exact corner 3 opportunities that Carr has been absolutely burying in Summer League. But we will look at his game in full in a moment. For now, Kessler was only the beginning. Pelinka still had a massive guard problem to solve, and the solution came in 2 crucial acquisitions that most fans are completely sleeping on. The first big addition was landing Quentin Grimes on a 4-year, $60 million contract. And before you argue that $60 million is an overpay for him, here is what you might be missing. Grimes and Luka already share incredibly strong on-court chemistry from their past run together in Dallas. When they shared the court, the Mavericks scored over 120 points per 100 possessions. That is not some fluke stat. It is a direct preview of what they are about to bring to Los Angeles. Grimes averaged over 13 points last season while shooting 45% from the field, cleared 20 points in 15 different matchups, and gives them a lockdown perimeter defender to inherit Marcus Smart's former duties. He might not play exactly like Smart, but he does not need to. They just needed a young defender who can guard the point of attack and continue growing alongside Luka. Then came the ultimate dilemma: what happens when Luka needs to rest? Last season, their offensive production absolutely cratered the second he sat on the bench. That is fatal for any squad trying to compete in a brutal Western Conference. So instead of targeting another pass-first playmaker, Pelinka secured a pure high-octane scorer in Collin Sexton. Sexton averaged over 15 points and shot 40% from three-point range for 3 straight seasons. Plus, he spent years playing alongside Kessler, ensuring their pick-and-roll chemistry is instantly ready to roll in Los Angeles. Sandro Mamukelashvili was the final touch brought in to bond this roster together. Most analysts figured Mamu was just a depth piece, a backup forward brought in to occasionally stretch the floor for playoff options. Instead, the Lakers locked him down with a 4-year, $52 million deal after a massive breakout year where he put up 11 points per game while shooting 39% from deep across 80 games. In his 13 starts last season, he averaged nearly 16 points while shooting 41% from downtown. That is not just a bench player. That is a serious weapon. And here is why he specifically matters for Cameron Carr. With Kessler locking down the paint, Mamu stretching the floor at the 4, and Grimes and 6 in space in the wings, Luka subtly has 4 absolute snipers surrounding him. Every drive Luka makes is bound to completely collapse the defense and open up an easy kick out to an open shooter. Look at Summer League right now. Carr is the exact weapon teams keep forgetting to guard, despite putting up some absolutely absurd rookie numbers. When this offense is clicking, Luka probes the pick and roll with Kessler, while Carr slides to the corner, draining shots before defenders even realize he moved. It isn't just some random supporting cast. It is a deadly ecosystem, and Carr fits it perfectly. Speaking of Carr, you have probably noticed his name popping up. Let us actually look at what this kid is doing in Summer League, because it is easily some of the most exciting basketball you can watch right now. See, the Lakers traded up from 25 to 24 just to secure him. Before the draft, most scouts saw him as a borderline lottery pick who somehow slipped into the mid-20s. His father, Chris Carr, was actually the runner-up to Kobe Bryant in the 1997 NBA dunk contest, playing 6 years in the league. So, basketball has literally been in his blood since infancy. He played 2 seasons at Tennessee before transferring over to Baylor, where his game exploded, averaging nearly 19 points and 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and over a block per game, while shooting 49% from the floor and 37% from deep. For the win, no good, Watson. But once Summer League started, opinions changed instantly. He dropped 19 points with 5 triples against Golden State in his very first game. Then came 26 points in an overtime thriller against Miami with 8 boards and 23 points against the Clippers as J.J. Redick watched courtside during a comfortable Lakers win. He backed that up by putting 14 on the Bulls in a massive blowout. 6 games into July, the kid is averaging 17.5 points in under 25 minutes while turning it over just 0.7 times a night, including 3 completely flawless games. He scored double figures in 5 out of 6 games, outplaying guys drafted way ahead of him. And he is doing it in a style that fits next to Luka Doncic beautifully, as if this whole offense was custom built for his game. Still, the one area Carr admitted he needs to work on is his defense if he wants to get on the court immediately. He knows he has to play lockdown defense first, saying he wants to prove he is the best defender out there. He has to get stronger and much more disciplined on that end. That focus says it all. But get ready, because here is the real catch. A massive issue that should make every single Lakers fan feel incredibly uneasy. Despite the massive hype around this new look roster, there are some serious questions we have to address before the season tips off in October. Walker Kessler played a grand total of 5 games last season, and a torn labrum is definitely not a minor setback. Expecting him to immediately become an elite defensive anchor next to Luka in his first year back is a massive burden that nobody is being totally honest about. Since they traded 2 future first-round picks and committed $130 million to acquire him, if Kessler struggles, this front office will have 0 assets or financial flexibility left to save themselves. Plus, you have to look at the absolute gauntlet waiting in the Western Conference. Teams like OKC and San Antonio got significantly stronger this offseason while keeping their future assets intact. Unlike those front offices, the Lakers just shoved their entire stack of chips into the middle of the table. Luka, Austin Reeves, and Kessler will cost the franchise around $475 million over the next few seasons. They burned through nearly $50 million in cap space and have basically no tradable first-round picks left, meaning their margin for error is 0. We also have to remember that Carr is still just 21 years old and has never played a single regular season game. Look, Summer League is just Summer League, and his defense needs massive work. He stands at 6'5", but only weighs 175 pounds, meaning physical NBA wings will try to bully him immediately. But there is a flip side. Kessler is only 24, fitting Luka's exact timeline. This isn't some desperate move built around an aging star. It is a highly calculated bet on who Kessler becomes over the next 4 seasons. While playing with one of the greatest playmakers in basketball history, Grimes, Stan, and Mamu fill the exact roster holes Luka asked management to fix. So, what do you think? Did the Lakers just pull off the smartest rebuild we've seen in years?